and there is this one area of space, and I don't imagine it's the only area of space where, like, it seems like over time anomalies had happened, and people ventured to this area of space and were never heard from again. But it seems like there's a lot of money to be made, traveling around the universe. So it seems like over time people didn't really worry about that, and they just said, okay, well, we'll make money over in this place then, and just kind of forget about like the mysterious place that's dangerous, right? So essentially, that's the kind of thing that's happened in this area. Except now there is. There are some people who have a newfound interest in this space, and in particular, there's a suggestion that, or there's this notion that some archaeologists have formed that this area of space was at one point an area that was occupied by this xenophobic, very technologically advanced civilization that had flourished there, but then mysteriously went silent. And that one reason why we don't know much about that civilization is because they were xenophobic, right? And that they didn't really venture out from their own area, and they were not really apparently very kind to people that were going into their area. And but that all happened a long time ago. But now some archaeologists have dredged up some new research and think that they have some new information, right, that kind of is shedding some light on this advanced civilization, and they have funded a group of ships to go out to that region to see what they can find. And so this group includes your ship, the Taconite, which is a geology research vessel. There's a ship called the Alexis, which is a ship designed for archaeology research. There's a cargo ship going, the Wasabi. I think the idea of the cargo ship is that it's not currently really carrying much cargo, but the idea would be that they would get there and want to have a ship that could be loaded up with stuff that is found there to return with it. And, just in case there was a need for some type of combat action, there's a military drop ship called the Defiance, which is going along. And the idea is going to be that all of these ships have kind of hyperspace jump drive technology. So there's going to be a rendezvous point, and all of the ships will make sure that they have the precise coordinates entered in before they make their jump. Okay, so they're all kind of planning to kind of make the jump from the same place, and they're going to set the coordinates to make sure that they wind up right when they come out of hyperspace, that they'll be in the vicinity of each other, and then from there proceed to kind of see what's there and investigate. And once they kind of have their findings, then they would all jump back with hopefully the cargo ship filled with resources, maybe new archaeological discoveries or whatever. Okay. So that's the basic setup, and your characters are going to be on the geology ship. at that point, uh, why don't we go around and you can uh, tell us a little bit about the characters. Oh, I can tell you that the Taconite does have a captain. I can find my names here. The captain is uh, Hannah Tutola, who is I think a very seasoned um, ship captain. She's not a geologist, but she knows a lot about this ship. Imagine her to be in her mid 40s. Very not particularly tall or physically imposing, but I think you would kind of quickly pick up on the fact that she's knowledgeable and uh, focused and kind of a no nonsense type of a captain. And there is a chief geologist on board. Rachel Takahashi is the name of the chief geologist who is on the ship. Um, and so there's the three of you, and I had kind of thought, um, yeah, that there are about a dozen of you total on the ship. So including yourselves and the captain, there's about a dozen of you. Um, oh, and with what the rules say about like jump drives and hyper drives is that humans would typically be in their cryopods because they don't really handle the jumps particularly well. But androids, I guess they could be put in stasis, but that androids are capable of kind of dealing with the jumps a little bit more effectively than the humans. So who wants to begin with introducing the character?
Well, I'm already unmuted, so I can go. Well, I have this android called George Becker. And I had a question for you, Robbie, about androids because, like, are they? Would people call George an it, or would George be like, integrated as like almost a human into the crew?
I, I,
Like, what do you think would be normal?
I think it would probably. I think probably different androids have different preferences. I think people would
Hmm.
typically. I think androids have been around for quite some time, and so
Okay,
I think people would respect whatever the android. Generally speaking,
right.
there probably would be some jerks out there that wouldn't
Hmm.
do that, but I think generally people are fine, calling the android with whatever they prefer.
Okay, cool, cool. Okay, so I think George Becker, he's like, yeah, he's like a kind of security type android, you know, and he's got like a pulse rifle and stuff, and a flashlight, and some comms, and I don't really know what else to say about him, but yeah, he's some kind of security related android, and I guess it's hard for me to imagine role playing an android, so I guess they're close enough to people, just a bit weird or something, like a bit strange because they're not very sane. Like their sanity save is really low. So yeah, I don't know. And I'm picturing him. He looks kind of like I think that he was produced when whatever companies produce these realized that maybe androids should age a bit, as they kind of go on. And so he is kind of like almost a little too exaggerated, like deep wrinkles in his face. That's like and it's yeah, it's kind of like maybe he's like the first of the first line of androids that like they tried it out, and 100 years down the line he looks a little weird.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Um, in terms of skills,
Yes.
what skills does George have?
So he came with computers, mathematics, and linguistics, but he also has theology and military training. And I think the theology is related to on the battlefield, you know, these androids would be taught, you want to have some knowledge of God or some kind of, higher thing to, de-stress the other soldiers a little more, than they normally would. So I think, and maybe he actually likes it. Maybe he's interested in it. And I guess it's probably Christianity because I've like read the Bible, so I don't know. I don't really know much about other religions. So yeah, he's like a Christian android.
Okay. All right. So that's George for us. Sean, who do you have?
I have Vince Payton, and Vince is a Teamster. He is not to be stereotypical, but Vince is a little rough. Um, he, however, he is a pretty good pilot, and he's part of the astrogation team because he's Nina's astrogation. Well, I guess when he's not piloting, or if he's a backup pilot, he's on in engineering or in damage control. Um, Vince is uh, doesn't he's not that great looking, but he's actually um, more fit than he looks. Um, and honestly, he's strong and he's pretty much average in just about everything. Um, he, as a rule, um, he doesn't like to go out into space, but he will if he has to, because he does have zero G training as well.
Okay.
Um, and Vince probably doesn't. Vince is probably one of those jerks who it's not that he hates androids. It's just that
Yes.
I feel about George the same way I feel about the computer. I'm not going to take a hammer and smash the computer on the ship.
Hmm.
I'm not going to take a hammer and smash George. It doesn't mean I want to eat lunch with the ship's computer either. So
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And John, who do you have?
So my character Leon Rush, who's a Marine, he doesn't have any general dislike of androids, but he doesn't like George in particular, I think, because and sorry, I'm just thinking this now because I think Leon is like the Marine who's been assigned to this ship, right? And he's not a good. I'll tell you this, he's not a good Marine. He's below average. I don't know what they're doing there, but he got through somehow. But he's specifically like the Marines on like the drop ship. They were like, you can go babysit the geologist. Do not be around messing up
Hmm.
our stuff. And so Leon is not quite smart enough to have picked up on that necessarily. But he kind of in the back of his head knows that they don't really like him. And so in that sense, he now realizes that he's on the ship, that like if George is here, he's sort of is feeling completely out of place, and so he's a little bit intimidated by that. Um, so yeah, so that's who he is. Yeah, I rolled really terribly for all of his attributes, but we'll see how it goes.
What's his combat
Um,
value?
it's 31, so that's his only,
Oh.
and that's his highest attribute.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I like it. But he is trained in firearms. He's got firearms training as well as his military training, and has zero G training, so he has some competence. He has some competence in that. Um, but I think he's not a bad guy, but I do think he's probably was promoted. Or, I mean, like he probably sort of lucked into his role, and probably is a little insecure about kind of understanding he probably doesn't really deserve to be there, but he isn't quite smart enough to like connect all the dots there. He's having some trouble. We'll see how he does. I don't know.
And once again,
I
we have
suspect poorly.
an alien movie where the android is the most interesting person.
I have a so I have a question. I have my military training. I don't think I mentioned that. Do I need firearms training to use the pulse rifle, or does that just help you be better at it?
Yeah, I think firearm just gives you um, gives you a bonus.
Okay, okay, that's what I assume. Okay,
Yeah. Yeah, so like
That's-
like most of the, with the skills, it's like an adding a percentage. So
Yeah.
it seems like with most of them, like if you wanted to do some scavenging but you didn't have the scavenging ability, you could still try it, but
Mhm.
the scavenging gives you the boost.
And my theology is really cool. I can help people release stress with it, which I think is pretty interesting.
Yeah, I do find that whole, because then right, you can with some of them, keep leveling them up. So you go to mysticism and then
Mhm.
xeno-esotericism.
Yeah, I love that so much. And then Robbie, I'm supposed to like ask you to help me develop new skills too. But like that's like right under this thing. It's like make sure you like. I just like love when they say that because I've never had a player do that in any game that has said that, and I'm like, that would be cool. Like to actually like invent a new skill or something. But
Yeah, I think we will have to just see like what happens during the play and
Mhm.
what possibilities uh, arise. Um, yeah, because it is curious that they have like on the skill chart they have like some blanks that are there.
Yeah, yeah.
Although there aren't any blanks on the first level, but I think you could add something to the first level if you know felt like you have to start, I think, on that trained level of the plus
Hmm.
10% before you advance. Um, okay, so you are uh, on the Taconite and kind of are uh, meeting up to the jump location. Um, before making the jump, um, yeah, I'm going to move us fairly quickly to your arrival there. But is there anything else that your character would want to do before heading out?
So
I don't
this is
think so for me.
before we leave. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Before we leave on the.
Right.
Um, probably. Vince would probably lock his station up, uh, and make sure nobody touches his station or his stuff while he's, in the air conditioned tube, right?
Right, and by
I don't want
nobody it means George because George won't be in one of those tubes. Yeah.
right. I don't want anybody touching my stuff or my seat. Okay, I got the seat the way I want it. Okay, George.
Yeah, I think okay, I think George I think George goes into the tubes like with the crew to appear normal, and then like maybe a bit into the actual space travel, he gets out and goes and like studies his like, Bible or whatever, whatever theological stuff he's reading because I think that it's like he can't just relax, he has to be doing some kind of work. So, yeah, that's what he would be doing.
And George is during the hyperspace travel. George is planning to be studying his theology and that stuff while all the humans are in their stasis.
Yeah,
Tube.
if possible. And what he'll do is, like, right before we get there, he's gonna pop back into the tube and wake up with everyone else, just like he got in the tube with everyone else, you know? So he kind of sneakily will pop out of it mid-travel and do his studying.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think Leon will, he's going to record a message to send home to his mom and dad. I think because I expect there's like bandwidth issues, so just him calling them on some type of thing isn't possible. But he can kind of record this message and kind of record a little video for them, and he's going to say, I've got a lot of um, they put me in charge of security on this ship, and I think if I do well here, when I get back, it's a I'm in the fast track for promotion, I'm sure. Then I'll you know I'll send you pictures of. Sorry, Robbie, and we know where. Is this like a secret mission? Sorry.
Is it a secret mission? I don't know that it's particularly secret because I feel like this area where you're going has just really fallen off the radar for. I mean, people like there's profit to be made easily elsewhere, so it's not like people are kind of looking at this as a
Yeah.
particularly.
So I'll bring you back a souvenir, and I'll say I love you, Mom, love you, Dad, bye. There we go.
Okay, and our Leon and I was just kind of going back to look at what it says about jump drives and hyperspace. Um, um, right, most crews spend their time in hyperspace in cryo sleep with an android manning the astrogation computer during the jump. Those who stay awake during hypersleep have reported strange and conflicting stories about the experience. And often androids' memories of the experience are at best described as unsettling.
Okay. So he wouldn't be studying. He would be doing some computer stuff. Okay, that's good to know.
Um, but Vince and Leon are fine spending their time sleeping during the jump.
And with I guess everybody else like wears their baggy shorts or whatever it is you're supposed to wear, but Vince has this pair of old like cut off spacer, like a spacesuit from the waist to about below the knee that has pockets because he doesn't like being without his pockets. So he has some pockets while he's in the tube. And uh, whatever is okay, like if he could take a set of keys, he take keys in with him. Whatever they'll let him get in his pockets to go into the car tube, he'll take with him. He's a bit paranoid at times.
Okay, and George, you are planning like when you're getting close though. Are you going to go in the tube and just pretend to be asleep, or are you actually going to go into?
Yeah, I think. Well, if George isn't needed to like, if he doesn't need to do something computer related to get the ship where it needs to be, he's gonna try to act as normally human as everyone else. Like he it's weird to be the only one who's standing there as everyone gets out. So he'd rather pop into the tube,
Okay.
and get out with everyone else.
And actually be kind of in asleep in that suspended state.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and the ship does have V Hexo, who is an android navigator for the ship.
Oh,
Right?
perfect.
They
Yeah.
they have a specific android who kind of knows how to do the jump drive and has done this plenty of times before to kind of handle that. Okay, so you all get into your tubes, and go into your cryo sleep, and of course you don't know exactly how long has transpired, but when you all wake up, um, it's to the sound of a alarm, this kind of beeping sound, beep 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 beep, um, and you're groggy initially, um, but after you kind of get your senses to you, there's a voice on the intercom that is alerting you to the fact that um, the jump drive has gone offline. However, we have arrived at the destination. Please report as soon as possible. We need to assess the jump drive situation, and there are also many ships in the vicinity, and we need to evaluate that situation. So let's see who we want to start with. Let's start with our Marine. What does Leon do?
I think Liam probably is probably tasked, because my sense is that everyone on the ship needs to be doing something, and if there's not sort of an active kind of security or kind of threat situation, he's probably assigned to kind of help out and be like an extra pair of hands, or like an extra kind of gopher lackey somewhere. So I think kind of because he can do zero G work, so he'll probably report to maybe the engineer, like the chief engineer, and just kind of like see he wants to ask about what needs to be done, and he's gonna kind of see if there's going to be any need for any like zero G kind of a extravehicular activity
Okay.
to repair it. So he's kind of getting ready to volunteer for that, or to
Okay.
get volunteered for that.
And George, you get out of your cryo sleep. What are you gonna do?
Well, so it's an alarm, but is it like, the danger is that just we can't use the warp drive or something? Is that what you said?
Yeah, that you arrived at the destination, but oddly, on your arrival, the warp drive also just something has happened to it, um, which would be really bad
Oh,
if it wasn't functioning, because if you're traveling just on your thrusters, something that would take you maybe a few months now takes you millennia to get somewhere.
right. Okay, so George is getting out of his little pod and looking for anyone who looks like, he can kind of do his whole calming them down. Like if there's anyone on the ship that he regularly talks to, like religiously or something, you know? Because I think this is a job for him. It's not just what he likes to do. Because I think anything that he likes to do becomes a job for him. So he's looking around for anyone who's like, oh God, we could be stuck here, and I could never see my home again. Oh Jesus! Like he's looking for if there's anyone like that. Otherwise, he's just gonna, I don't know, sit down and wait for something to happen, basically.
Yeah, I think when you start to look around, people are kind of um, still getting their senses to them. I mean, they've just kind of come out of this sleep. Um, but there would be no doubt somebody uh, a kind of uh, new somebody who's younger who hasn't really been through
Mm-hmm.
a lot of hyperdrive jumps and is kind of looking a little discomposed and concerned.
Okay, so George is going to approach him and talk to him about Job and tell him about, like, God sending, like, maggots, or Satan, God allowing Satan to send maggots to eat Job's flesh and stuff, and how, like, this is a test and we're going to get through it. It won't be that bad.
Okay, and this is using your theology. What does it
Yes.
say about the calming effect of?
So, yeah, let me see, because I was looking at it earlier. If you have a skill like psychology or theology, which allows you to assist other characters in relieving their stress, you can only use it once per day. Okay, well, let's see. Um, it just says that I can help other people. What is it? Um, I'm sorry. This game text is a little confusing to me, so I'm like,
Mhm.
this is on page 25. If anyone wants to help me. Um, oh, I can give them advantage on their fear save before resting.
And you can do this one time per day?
One time per day, I guess. Yeah.
Um, well, uh, a fear save would be in order for. Let me give this person a name. This is uh, Khan Saeed. Um,
Ooh.
I mean, would you want to use that to
Oh,
help?
sure. Yeah.
Okay.
I kind of like this character.
Um, yeah, Khan Saeed. Yeah, just a kind of young. Um, I guess we'd say a young teamster type
Mhm.
that is fairly new to all of this, um, and so this is going to give Khan advantage on.
Yeah, this would give him advantage on a fear save, I think. Now, do I roll and try to beat something and then that would give him advantage?
It almost sounds like from what you're reading, it just is kind of automatic that it gives that
Yeah,
advantage.
Yeah,
I think it's
because it says
automatic.
assist. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Yeah, cool.
I'm gonna roll to see what Khan's how Khan does in terms of fear. Okay, so Khan listens to you and is trying to nod and obviously trying to kind of get his courage.
Hmm.
He's still shaken though, right? He's still clearly kind of out of sorts. But I guess you do enough that he's like kind of getting his getting himself together, putting on his boots and kind of getting ready to set out. But you can kind of pick up that, right? He's still shaken.
Okay, yeah. So I'm talking him through this whole process. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Um, and as you do this, you would pick up on the fact I'm imagining that androids have an internal chronometer, like time.
Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah.
Uh, yours seems to be misbehaving a little bit. It does
Oh.
not seem to be um, operating within normal parameters.
Ooh. That might make my character's aging go all out of whack. Okay, yeah.
But
Okay,
yeah,
that's
you do
interesting.
sense that there's something kind of going on that's not kind of right with how your internal clock is operating.
Right. Okay, interesting.
All right, and then on to Vince, our pilot. What do you do?
He will scramble out of his the cryo bed and go over and just he basically just strips out of his cutoff pants and he gets into his flight suit. But he's like grabbing things that like he's got one leg and one boot on. He's getting the other leg on. Somehow he does it quickly, but no one's really sure how Vince manages to do these things. And so half dressed, he starts running towards, I guess, the bridge. If there's a piloting station there for him, he will. Uh, he won't say anything to George or um, Khan Saeed because George is talking to Khan. He just doesn't want to get in the middle of that. But if he sees any other Teamster types, he will tell them to get their butts to their stations, even if he doesn't have any like authority to do that.
Mhm.
Vince will just say, "Get your butt to your station. Come on, let's go. Get.
Yeah,
The
you
ship
get
don't fly itself."
you get looks from people, and they probably nod, and that they're really just trying to kind of get themselves together, and yeah, you do make your way up to the bridge. um, when you get to the bridge, you see V Hexo, the android navigator, who obviously would have been up there for the trip, and you also see Hannah Tutola, the captain, who is there, and um, Hannah is mostly occupied right now. You see her in front of a screen, and uh, the screen is kind of showing the space immediately around your ship, and there are a lot of little dots uh, indicating that there are in this area a number of other ships floating about. And when you enter V Hexo, the android navigator says, uh, "I have everything under control."
How you do? What the hell them ships? Did we was there a misjump? What's going on, Hex? What's going on? Did we misjump? Did we get somewhere? There's a hell of a lot more ships than we started with. Do we have more ships? Did something break up? So Vince is just like rolling the words off. But at the same time, he's going to sit down at a station and check. Um, well, I don't know specifically what astrogation does in this game. I mean, I know it does in other games, but I guess I better read that.
Yeah, the descriptions tend to be pretty brief. I mean, it's like, what does it say about astrogation? Navigation in outer space. Okay.
Well, he will. Oh, here we go. Yeah, he will. Vince will try to um, make sure that we are where we're supposed to be.
Okay. Well, why don't you go on and make a roll using that astrogation?
Okay. And an expert skill is what? Gives.
I think it's plus 15.
Uh, so I guess I use my intellect for that.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Which is 40. So I got a 52. Yeah.
And it was 40 plus the 15 gives you the 55.
Right. Yeah.
So you succeeded.
Okay.
Yep. Um, so you go up to your screen and are kind of looking around. You do determine that you are um, on a kind of quick glance. You do seem to be where um, you said you would be, right? Where you were planning to go. You do pick up on the fact that there are a number of ships floating. Um, they um, they don't show any sign of. They seem to be floating and not like propelling themselves. They're just kind of like floating about in this area. They seem to be kind of dead ships um, of various types, and you are near a planet, and there is also a moon. It's a planet that has a single moon uh, that is orbiting it. Um,
Do any of the ships have their running lights on? Those are
So yeah, you start doing a little closer scan to see if you can pick up any. They generally don't, but while you're kind of starting to do that assessment, you do pick up a faint signal, and it's a kind of distress call from the Alexis. Um,
okay. I will put that on the speaker then.
okay, and
Not even knowing whether Hex and the captain have heard this on their stations or not. The just the bridge speaker. Vince will put it on that.
okay. So you do that, and it's a kind of the message would be you know this is the Alexis jump drive uh, anomaly. We are experiencing some anomaly with our jump drive. We need assistance, um, and the message also gives you a kind of a date, and what's a little bit baffling is that um, the date it's giving you is 18 days ago.
Well, that doesn't make any sense. Uh, Vince will try to confirm that if possible. They'll try to like synchronize the chronometers and bang the stuff, and he gives the computer a bit of a kick. Uh, somebody's been touching my stuff.
Yeah. Oh,
This can't be right.
and you also would pick up, when uh, you got this announcement that it was 18 days ago. Uh, Hex has a visible reaction to that announcement, and you can see Hex kind of stopping what he's doing and kind of looking up, and seems to be kind of thinking things through now.
Are you okay there, buddy?
It takes him a few seconds to respond. He's just kind of like, yeah, yeah. Uh, I'm fine. Back to business. And he's gonna immediately try to kind of like figure out exactly where the Alexis is. Right? He says let's figure out where exactly that beacon is. We obviously need to help the Alexis. Um, and let's go down to engineering then with Leon. You were going down there to kind of inquire as to what you might be able to do and what's going on with the jump drive.
Yeah, I'm sort of maybe you can. I'm suggesting maybe I'm not trying to overtake the authority here, but I'm suggesting maybe that Leon's place may be down with the engineering during like times like this when there's no immediate security issues. So he's gonna go kind of see what's going on and see if he can help out, or he doesn't actually have any skills to do so, but he's happy to share advice nonetheless.
All right, so
Unskilled advice.
So when you get down to engineering, you see the head engineer, the one in charge of the thrusters and the jump drive, who is giving orders to somebody else who is kind of they're also an engineer. That they are clearly frustrated. They are clearly confused. They are like the jump drive is not really responding to the inputs that they're trying to give it. The thrusters, you find out the thrusters are functioning, so that they have, in terms of kind of navigating around this area, they don't think that there's going to be a problem with that, but they are deeply concerned though about the drive. The drive, they say, it hasn't blown up or anything like that, but there's just something. I mean, the chief engineer says it's I don't know, it's almost like it's under the, I don't know, kind of under the influence of something that has it in its grips, but it's just not doing anything, right? I mean, that from all signs, kind of looking at it, it seems like it should operate, and it's not. And while this is going on, also the first officer of the ship kind of comes down there and is telling the chief engineer that he should be putting every effort into the jump drive situation, that it's quite possible that the ship may be making a kind of quick return journey.
So I'll ask the XO why are we heading back so soon? Nothing to see here?
Well, okay, so you're asking the first officer? Well, why?
Yeah.
So he just says, you don't need to question. You don't need to question me. If there's something going on in this region of space, you know the legends, right? That now we see. I mean, I don't know that you've cared to kind of look at what's surrounding us, but we kind of see what has happened to ships that have come to this area. They're just out here as a kind of graveyard, We're surrounded by
Oh.
by dead ships, and if we don't make our way out of here, we may be the next one.
Okay. Well, yeah. Let's not stick around too long.
So I think at this point, I'm going to go on and have everybody make a fear save. I mean, all of you, you have a lot of this odd stuff going on. I should say that coming out of your cryo tubes, if the ship ever kind of runs into some type of peril, the kind of safety protocol is to kind of immediately wake up the crew, right, to kind of get them
Okay.
into action, right, to assess the situation and to see what they can do. So yeah, everybody go on and give me a fear save.
I failed.
I critically failed. So there. So let me see what that does.
I made it by 1. I need just 5, and I got 34.
Oh, I have to make a panic check too.
Yeah. So and all right, but now Sean, you are in the presence of an android.
So, right.
Oh.
I think it. I mean, now that's on the character sheet, but I'm assuming that's the same with NPC androids. That anytime you're.
I would think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have to roll that at disadvantage, right?
Yeah. So you just have to roll a second time and just get another success, and you're.
Yeah, just succeed twice.
No. I do not succeed.
All right. So those of you who did not succeed, you're gonna take 1d4 stress. Just roll a 4-sided die and add that to your stress. And the critical.
I got to roll a panic check.
Yeah. So. Okay. So. And it says make a stress check. So would you go on and add the stress first?
I think so.
Yeah. So go on and roll the 1d4.
So yeah, I got the 1. I rolled a 1 on that, so that's somewhat lucky.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm rolling my 2d10.
2d10.
So I got an 8. So I do roll over my current stress. So
Yeah.
I don't panic, and I relieve 1 stress.
Oh,
okay.
very good.
So that's
right.
not bad.
Oh, wow.
So I'm like I'm keeping. So I do start to panic, and because I feel that if we've got to go back, I'm like, wow, they spent all this money getting out here, and they're going right back. Like, that's got to be bad. And if it's bad, I don't know if I want to be on, I don't know if I want to be on this ship where like they can't even fix the jump drive here. Then I'm like, but these guys got it.
They know what.
I see them. I'm comforted by like the engineers here. Okay, they've got it.
Okay, the back up on the bridge, the captain has kind of been very interested now that Vince brought up the distress call from the Alexis, and the captain is now going to announce to the ship that we have communication from the Alexis, and we are currently zeroing in on the location, and thrusters are operational. So we are going to make our way to the Alexis, and then also kind of keep keep our ears up for the Wasabi and the Defiance, but we know at least one of our companion ships is here, and you can feel the ship, right? The thrusters are being activated, and so the ship is now kind of starting to move and make its way over to the Alexis. And the captain says during this that it's likely that we will need a group to board the Alexis. We have their distress signal, but Vince, you would pick up on the fact that the captain has been trying to kind of establish two-way communication. It's just like a repeated distress beacon voice that's kind of going on right now, but she's not getting any response, kind of communicating back with her, like, she's trying to hail them to say, what is your current status, right? But she's not getting any voices to respond. So she's announcing to the ship that it's likely that a party will be needed. She certainly would say, now on the ship, John, do you imagine that Leon is the only Marine on the geology ship?
I think he might be. I don't know, because I think, I guess I think that if there's this other ship with a lot of Marines, then I think they wouldn't need too many on the geology ship.
Mm-hmm.
And I think maybe if George is a combat android, then like that's all they would have. I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's reasonable, but I don't know.
Yeah. So I think it's reasonable. She would say. So she knows. She probably doesn't remember your name, but she says, "Well, the Marine. Please report." Let me see. Where would she have you go?
Airlock.
Yeah, I'm looking at my little ship schematic here. Yeah, she says, "Will the Marine?" I think she probably would also say security android.
Yeah.
Be expected to go, and I think she'll call Vince there as well, right? Needing another pilot, like I think the idea would be that V Hex will stay to kind of continue piloting that ship, but if the Alexis needs a pilot, somebody with piloting skills would make sense.
Well, I'm gonna. Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead. No.
I was gonna say before Leon goes to report to the airlock, he's gonna put his hand on the shoulder of the engineer, and he's like, "You got this. You got this. I believe in you, man." Okay. We'll see you on the other side, and he heads out to the airlock.
It's going to take you a little while to kind of get yourself, next to the Alexis and kind of get linked in. The captain notes, right, that in terms of entry points, there's an airlock entry to the Alexis. It also has a cargo hold, so it has these bay doors, but that would not be wise, because in terms of actually having a kind of connect, right, you can open the bay doors, but then, right, your little kind of docking connection doesn't work with bay doors. It's kind of more designed for a proper airlock entrance. So she's gonna get Hex to maneuver over to that entrance airlock. You all have a little bit of time if there's anything before kind of making the entry to the Alexis that you would like to do. you would have some time.
Well, I think George is just getting his standard battle dress on with his HUD and stuff, and his pulse rifle. Like any anytime there's any sort of security needed, he puts on everything. You know, it's like part of his kind of protocol. So yeah, he comes out really kitted out, like basically for battle to the to the airlock or wherever. Yeah, wherever we're gathering. How many other people are? Is it just just the two of us that have gathered up?
It's gonna be the three of you, right?
Oh, right. It's all right.
Um, trying to think of like, oh, um, I think that also the not the chief engineer, but the underling engineer will head over as well, right?
Okay.
'Cause they're concerned about like, okay, is the same engineering type problem that's happening with us, is that's what is going on with the Alexis. So that person is there as well.
Sorry, I don't have an answer for that.
I have this. I'm going to turn this off because it's going to pick up on me saying Alexis and it's.
Yeah, oh, that's so funny. That's so funny.
Hadn't even crossed my mind until it was speaking to me. All right. So, is there anything else?
That is kind of funny though.
Yes. You can actually reprogram the echo because my daughter has a friend named Alexis, and that's really a kind of bad situation. So you can like program it to respond to a different name.
I think Vince, he will. First, he'll give the captain a dirty look, like, "Why I got to go over that rust? Why do I got to pilot that rust bucket? Why can't you send?" But he will say it, but she could tell that's what he's thinking. But he'll go down there and he's got his laser cutter and he's bringing some other equipment and stuff, and he just kind of looks at the two of them with their guns and uh, their camo, their space camo, and he's just shaking his head. It's like, not going over there to kill the ship, boys. Just going over there to make her work, make her fly.
Yeah, and I think George like stammers and he's like, "It's just, I just, I have to have it." He's like, I can't, I can't leave. I have to have it.
We don't know what's over there. We don't know what happened to any of these ships. We can't. Once we find out it's safe, I'll be happy to stand down, Vince. But you want me watching your back.
Yeah.
So Leon,
Yeah, well,
you're all outfitted out as well.
Yeah, I will say I have but although I did stop off in my quarters and I used one of the stim packs.
Oh.
So I won't get any health from it because I'm at max health, but I will get the boost to get a strength and combat boost. So plus 8 to strength for now.
Oh yeah, George has some stim packs on him as well.
Only plus 4 to combat. Great.
Does it say how long the effect lasts?
It says 1 day 10 hours, but I don't know if you want to roll that. Keep it a little. You can tell me when it's run out. And keep. It doesn't. It's one of those things that doesn't say who necessarily rolls, but it might be fun to keep that information from me.
Okay, so I have done that. And give me 1 second. I want to see. Let me see if I can upload this onto Discord. the engineer or the right, not the chief engineer, but the engineer going over. Uh, he pulls up a schematic of the Alexis,
Oh.
and so let me go on and upload this. Okay, and I need to cross-reference this. So that's did that come up on the Discord?
Yeah.
Okay. So the Alexis has 3 decks. If you look at the bottom on the lower deck, it has the entrance port that is there. The cargo hold doors, which is the other possible entry point. But you can see that like there's like excavation equipment, like like caterpillars or little dump truck or stuff like that. Like, so the cargo hold is basically used not for ship to ship right moves, but it's like when it's landed somewhere and it needs to send out its excavation vehicles, it would open that, and it would then kind of take stuff into the cargo hold that it had collected. I will. Gotta pull up this other schematic just to explain things a little bit better in terms of how this is all laid out. So you have the entrance. You see where the cargo hold is. That the room kind of opposite the quarter, that kind of long, narrow room, that's the cryo chamber. Okay. Other notable, the command room would be on the upper level, kind of on the far left, that kind of head that's there. That's the command room. And on the, I have to kind of go back and forth between these. So you have the habitat deck, and that is, of course, the deck that the crew is on when it's out of cryo. But you have a med bay up there, the crew quarters. It's an archaeology ship, so like the captain has a room there, and the chief archaeologist would have a room there. So you have like various quarters that are on that deck. Let's see if there are any other kind of questions that you have about the layout. You have these like little like circular rooms, like on the upper deck. It has these like 2 wings where you have these little kind of square shaped rooms with a little like circle. Those are life support modules that are in there. And also on the lower deck, there's another life support module. Of course, the engineer going with you is obviously interested in heading to where the jump drive is.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and those are going to be in that lower deck towards the rear of the ship.
And is the movement up and down between decks, is that like a lift, or is that like a core, like a
Yeah, I was trying to figure
Corridor?
this out. This is like another unknown thing. So yeah, on your little schematic, like if you go through this airlock entrance, then you see where that little arrow is,
Mm-hmm.
and then it has this flowchart thing, which Mothership likes to do. So there's something there that will get you to the different levels, right? Because there's an arrow, right? There's a little flowchart
Yeah.
thing that kind of goes and then points to this place on the habitat deck, and then right the habitat deck right as a thing going to the upper deck. It's a lift of some type. I'm not really sure exactly, but that apparently is the place that you go to get yourself from one deck to another. But it's not really clearly explained in the module exactly what kind of mechanism that is. I mean, would it just be a? I don't think it would just be would it just be a ladder that you would take between the decks, or?
That's what I would hope, right? Because if the ship's power went off and you were like stuck,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, so let's just say it's a ladder
Okay.
that you can climb.
I like that.
cool.
There probably are lifts somewhere in the ship, but yeah, I think a ladder is more practical in this regard. So,
Okay.
um,
Mhm.
well, I would say Vince would stick, close to the umbilical or whatever we connect with to make sure that we get a good seal on the door.
Hmm. And I think actually George turns to Vince and the other engineer and says, you two, make sure you stay behind us when we go on the ship. Let us go first.
Sure. Vince will let you go first.
Yeah.
Just don't go too slow, okay? Don't shoot anybody we need. I never
Yeah.
did like the captain on that ship, so if you shoot the captain, I don't have a problem with that. Just don't tell our captain that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, George kind of says yeah every time. He has really good detection of a command versus irony. He understands what's irony and what's a command.
Um, yeah, and I should point out, like, so when you go through this airlock, you're going to be in this little passageway, and right, if you turn to the left, uh, that little is it a octagon shaped room? That's the science lab that would be there. Then you have you have a life support unit, and then there's a little quarter that's the crew chief's quarters. Okay. And then you also have, right, if you make your way down the long hallway, that would take you by the cryo chamber and the cargo hold, and eventually you're working your way down basically to the engine drive room, okay, at the end of that. Okay, so you've checked things out with the door. It seems it's sealed. Everything's fitted up there well, and the uh, the airlock door opens, and you're there then in that corridor, and the engineer says we should make our way first of all to check the drive out, and he also yells out, "Anybody here? Anybody here?" But it's silence there. You don't hear uh, anybody. There's a little alarm going off uh, with not yeah, I think it's just an alarm buzzer that's like sounding, but that's basically the only noise you hear on the ship right now.
Okay. I mean, I think George is, he is like, there's no hostiles in sight or whatever. He's going to start heading pretty quickly towards engineering, He's got his gun out and stuff, but it's not like pointed straight out, I don't think real people who use guns just point their gun kind of aimlessly. I think he's got it, down so he doesn't randomly shoot someone.
Yeah.
Okay. Does everybody else want to follow down to engineering, or anybody have another idea?
I will be taking the rear guard, so I'll wait till Vince and the engineers start following George, and I will. I want to keep an eye out as we go down there, because I know that especially like that no one is going to kind of drop in through the come down through the ladder area from one of the other levels. So I'll keep an eye on that.
I think George is yelling out, like, anyone who's hiding or scared or whatever, just, come out so we don't accidentally shoot you as we go.
Vince will follow George, and he will, if there are lights, if the lights are on, if there's a panel that he can get any kind of readings on, he'll do that. If the lights are off, it's just emergency lights. He'll try to turn the lights on and get an idea of what the life support situation is.
Good idea.
Okay, yeah. So the life support. Let me. Okay, so the ship is when you kind of get yourself to a. I imagine these ships have making your way down there. There would be a screen that would give you a basic idea, or you probably would just kind of pick up on the general status of the ship. It's clearly operating in a low energy cycle. The ship's atmosphere is fine. The even though it's in that low power cycle, the power does seem to be fluctuating though. I mean, it's lights dim and then brighten up, and clearly there's the power system does not seem to be operating normally. Yeah, but thankfully the atmosphere is okay for now, at least.
Okay, George has a little like shoulder-mounted flashlight or something. I mean, it said shoulder or hand, so I think shoulder's kind of cool. Or maybe it's on his helmet. I think helmet makes sense. He has a cool helmet flashlight, and that's on. It's probably really, really bright because it's like a military grade kind of flashlight.
Yeah. Yeah, and and you have a little bit of light, on the ship, but then You have that bright light. You don't see anybody down the corridor. If you look down that long corridor, you have those. Um, uh, there are some places where you have doors, but then there are a lot of places where you have airlocks. So, like the quote unquote door going into the cryo chamber is actually an airlock. The quote unquote door going into the cargo hold, that's an airlock. Those are closed. Okay. And at the very end of the corridor, uh, to get into the engine or drive room, that's a closed airlock that is there as well.
Can we see into the cryo chamber room,
No,
or is it completely shut off?
no, it's yeah, the walls are solid. There's no windows or anything like that, and that airlock is closed.
Okay, George says to, whoever, the people, are we worried about, saving the people here, or do we really need to get to engineering right now?
Well, let's take a look. I think we should take a look and see if anybody's asleep in there. If they're
Okay, yeah.
asleep, maybe they can help us.
And then George looks over to that engineer, like for confirmation.
The engineer says, I'm going to head on down to the engine room. If you all want to like look for survivors, that's fine.
George goes with him.
With the engineer.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, well, since the cryo chamber is first, that airlock is closed, and um, if you're gonna kind of open it here, I mean, you'll have to figure out like how to get it open. Are you gonna force it open, or?
Can I tell what the atmosphere is like in the cryogenic chamber room? Like, is it the atmosphere good in there? If I can tell.
Yeah, I don't think you would be able to tell because, yeah, that's a solid airlock door.
Um, and just trying to pull it open or punch some buttons to make it open, that doesn't work.
You can. There aren't really any buttons to be pushed here. You can try to force it though, if you would like.
Yeah, I'll take out my crowbar.
Yeah. Nice.
Okay.
I'll sling my weapon and I'll help him out.
Okay. So this is going to be a strength check, but I'll let you do this with, since you're getting help. You'll get to do it with advantage.
Okay. 50, exactly what I needed.
Okay. So you get the door to the cryo chamber open. It has a lot of cryopods. I mean, it has 30 of them, and they, looking at the ones in front of you, they do not seem to be occupied. There doesn't seem to be anybody in here.
Where'd everyone go?
I don't know. Maybe they're hiding up on the bridge, or hiding in the. Maybe all stuffed inside the engineering deck trying to fix it.
Can we tell like the last time that they the tubes had been used?
Yeah, it would make sense that maybe they would have some type of readout, a kind of log of when they were closed and sealed, how many days transpired, in that. And what you find is 18 days ago is when those tubes opened.
Don't make
John,
no sense.
does your sorry to interrupt, John? Does
Yeah.
your character have the short range comms?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so at some point, George is like, short range commsing your character, like, hey,
Yeah.
how is it in there?
They're all empty, but no sign of. They're all empty. No sign of anything, and no sign of anyone having been in them for the last 18 days.
All right,
And
okay, then I think you two should come to engineering with us.
Yeah. We'll do the thinking. We'll be right there. Okay, we'll be there. This 18
And
days don't make no sense. So, like,
I
George
think
could
that,
hear in the background Vince going, 18 days don't make no sense. Other ships jumped at the same time. They should have arrived at the same time. It's not like they got two different engines in them.
Mm.
Uh, when you get down to when your
yeah.
engineer friend gets down to the end of that corridor to get into the engine room, there again it's an airlock, a closed airlock. The engineer, it's not showing this on the map, but the engineer somewhere down here, it seems like there would be a comm to, with a button you can push to like talk, and the engineer is like trying to talk into that and say, I need to get into the drive room. If anybody hears this, open the airlock. But there is no reply. So you have again a kind of shut airlock door. The engineer gives you the impression that if somebody was in a part of the ship, there would be a switch or something like that, or a command that they could give to a computer to open it. But there's that switch or that computer is not by this airlock. And he's not a particularly strong guy. He kind of tries to, jingle it a little bit, but he's
Right.
not. And then he looks at you and says, "Can you open this thing?"
So I have computer skill? Is there anything like I can do with that to kind of, or am I looking at something with no interface?
Go on and roll your computer skill.
Okay. All right. So I assume that's intellect. So, okay, I've succeeded. I got a 28.
Okay. Yeah. The you can assess this, and you're not going to be able to do anything here, but you definitely kind of see that there's like an electrical, interface that's kind of going on with this. That if you were in the right place, that there is an electrical device that would open this up.
Okay, yeah. So I tell that to the engineer. I'm like, I can't open this from here. We have to look around for something else.
Yeah. So the engineer says, okay, if you can't get this open, let's go to the command room, right? That engineer says that's what would get us in here.
All right, so I think I radio. John, I'm sorry. What's your character's name? I'm so bad at remembering names.
Leon.
Okay, I radio Leon again, and I'm like, "Hey, so we can't open this door, so I think we might need to head to command." Yeah, fills him in.
Okay, got that, George. So I'll turn around and go back and secure the ladder up.
Okay. Yeah, so you would have to go just pass back down that corridor, basically going back to the entrance airlock.
Yeah.
And from there, you would just go up the ladder 2 levels.
Mhm.
Would take you up to that upper level where the command room is. So is everybody gonna go up there? Or does anybody want to kind of peel off to go somewhere else?
I'll take the lead as we go up.
Nice.
Vince will Vince will take a smoke break. He'll step aside while waiting for the others,
Hmm.
and he'll watch Leon go up, so to kind of watch Leon's back. And when Leon gets the second level, he says, "Hey, do you see anybody up there?"
We'll see. Yeah. So do I see anyone?
Okay, so yeah, you're going through the habitat level
Yep.
first. I need to follow my map here. Okay, so when you get up to the habitat level, you're in that long corridor. You don't see anybody there. You do see these. That level has both doors to some of the quarters, and there are also airlocks. Well, you see, a couple airlocks, but there is no sign of movement or life on that level.
That was freakily inappropriate, or appropriate, I should say. That opening door was perfectly timed, Sam.
Yeah, yeah.
So, are you gonna, Leon, are you going up to the upper level?
No, I think what I'll do is I think his training would be to get off at this level and kind of cover them as they go up.
Okay.
And kind of
Oh,
we kind of jump, be kind of now kind of wait till kind of George gets up and he'll be covering down here to make sure everyone can get up safely, and then come up the rear after them.
Okay.
okay.
Yeah. So you all, as I say, you don't see anything. It's all eerily still, except for the flickering lights, right? The kind of fluctuating electrical system, and so you all can make your way up to the top level, and that just takes you to a corridor with airlocks, closed airlocks at either end. And
Okay.
so one of them is to the command room, and the other one just goes to, well, basically goes to a corridor that gives you access to some life support modules. Oh, and then also that other. So you have the command room. That's that kind of semicircle shape room, and then at the other end of the corridor you would go through an airlock if you can make your way through there, and that has life support, and also the navigation computer is back there as well.
Okay. Yeah, George is looking to the engineer and saying, "All right, so we need to go." I actually think George is giving the orders now, kind of, because he was like, "We have to go to command." So he's like, "Let's go to command right now," to the others,
Okay.
or at least me and the engineer.
Yeah, the engineer is all about that. He's like,
Yeah.
yeah, we need to get the airlock to the drive, to the jump drive open. So he's kind of there, but he says, we got another one of these airlocks.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, give me a minute. I'm hefting this laser cutter the whole way up. Come on. You people climbing with your rifles and your backpacks. And Vince, you can hear Vince huffing and puffing up this ladder.
Mm.
Ladders onto the command deck. It like pushes a laser cutter. It's like, damn thing, goddamn thing. I got to carry that everywhere on this ship. And so, he gets out. And, it's like, pardon my language. I hope I didn't offend anybody. And he'll like take his crowbar over to the door and try to pry that one open too. Somebody give me a hand here. I had to carry that thing up two flights of ladders.
yeah, I'll swing my I'll put my my I'll sling my submachine gun and I'll go help him again.
Okay.
That's not good. Oh, okay. An 06.
Okay.
Ooh.
All right. So that will work. You get that airlock open, and you're in the command room. You see. You actually do see signs of life in here, and also signs of death. So there are splayed out on the floor are two humans. They're clearly crew members of the Alexis. They're splayed out on the floor, and they are not moving. There is a android, also a crew member, who is sitting in front of a computer and very intent, kind of typing away at the computer. I mean, so focused on it that it takes him a while to realize that you've opened the airlock and are there. And also in a corner of the room, you see an android who has been cut in half. So it's just his
Oh no.
like his lower half is setting off to one side, and it's just, but he still is operational. His upper
Oh,
limbs.
oh no.
And he looks over at you with some surprise and says, you're not with the Alexis. What can you tell us about the status of our ship?
I think George, upon seeing all this stuff, he yells at Vince and the engineer. He's like, "Get back!" And that rifle's pulled up, and he says, "Why would you kill these people? What are you doing? Their bodies. What are He's like, what have you done?"
Um, I haven't done anything. The crew, they did it to themselves. The humans on this crew, they did it to themselves. And the android at the computer, he kind of stands up and says, "We haven't been able to figure out what exactly has happened, but the crew lost their mind." and he says, I've been sitting here trying to recover files, but there's some type of strange erasure that's happened, and I keep losing my memory as well, as does Cranot. So the intact android is named Pander, and the half android is Cranot. But you know what both of them are telling you is that something awful happened to the jump drive, and the crew started fighting amongst themselves, and Pander and Cranot, along with the computer system, they have unfortunately suffered some type of severe memory loss, and they have been sitting here trying to kind of piece together what has happened and what they can do to try to restore full power to the ship.
Well, have you gone down to engineering and looked there? I might have to stop with the accent because I can't keep it going the whole time. But yeah, but you got into engineering and open up the door so you can see inside. Where's everybody else? What are these the only two that you could scrape together? Prince is trying to ignore the bodies, but he's just sort of like, the only two you could scrape up here. Where's everybody else?
Yeah, Pander says that there are more corpses to be found on the ship, unfortunately. And Pander says, I've looked at the ship and it's awful. I mean, my best hope is to try to kind of recover whatever data I can, but it seems to be hopeless. But then he kind of will sit back down to kind of continue to kind of work away at the computer.
Could convince to use for his first aid to see how these two died and how long they've been dead. Just a basic,
Yeah.
Oh, this is, they're more than a day dead or so.
Hmm.
22.
Oh, that's a critical
Ooh.
success. Yes.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Right, because I guess that's intellect, so that would be 22 out of 50. Yeah.
Yep.
Critical success. Now I'm starting to talk like Vince. Oh boy.
So, and I feel like I'm going to give you some information now, and then I think maybe we'll stop the session. And I want to think, because I feel like I should give you some more information with the critical success on this. So, from what you're able to tell, one of them, the cause of death was some type of blunt force trauma to the head. And the other one was um, seems to be like some type of self-inflicted stab wound. Um, like some. Why don't we make it? I think a stab wound, but like science fiction. It's a self-inflicted wound. We'll say a self-inflicted, like, laser pistol, right? Um, and in terms of like what caused the blunt force trauma, that there is like a big wrench kind of by the side with some blood on it that seems like the likely instrument. And I would say on the on the hands of the person who did the self-inflicted kind of shot, there is blood on that person's hands. And obviously the head wound, or the head wounds, right? There's kind of dried blood there's as well.
Okay. Um, Vince has probably seen people go space crazy before and hurt themselves, so I don't know if he's totally freaked out by this, but he definitely is like looking at uh, the two androids with a little bit of side eye, I guess, or suspicion. Um,
Well,
but he will, yeah, he'll. For once, Vince is not saying much, actually. He's like, yeah, they're dead. They're two dead people.
yeah, I think George, like, I feel like it would be standard protocol to destroy any androids that were on a ship full of dead people, just in case. Um, but
Or
I think they're
shut them down if we can power them down somehow.
yeah. So I think he's going up to the. He's like looking over at Leon, and he's like, "Do you know what to do, right?" And he's like going towards. He's leaving Leon the one that doesn't have legs, and he's like, we need to, these
Secure them.
these cannot be active. And he's going up towards Pander.
Yeah, I'll follow George's lead and I'll go towards the one with no legs.
Okay, so Pander and both of them are I mean, they're androids, and they clearly have their kind of memory circuits. They're not like functioning at 100%. Pander is largely just focused back on his kind of computer to try to kind of recover whatever files he can, and he's clearly having a hard time of it, but he's really focused on that.
Okay, George is kind of pushing his pulse rifle right up against Pander's ear, and he's saying, actually, he's not doing it that violently. He's like, "Hey, Pander, like, you know what I need to do with you, right? Like, there's a whole ship full of dead humans, and you're just sitting here. I don't know, like, if I can deactivate him or like what, but I'm basically saying to him, like, I have to put you out of commission. So either that means I have to tie him up in some kind of way, or I don't know what, but I'm not gonna like brutally kill him. But basically, George is like, I'll shoot you if you don't listen to me, because yeah.
Yeah, so trying to think if this should be a role as to.
Hmm.
I mean, I think you're right about like androids though and humans. It would kind of make sense that like androids. Um,
Yeah, they're a company's property. Like, and I feel like if they were on a full ship of people and they were still alive and all the people were dead, you would have to do something. Like, you can't.
yeah.
Especially because it seems like they are malfunctioning and their memory's off.
Right. I wonder if we would just kill them. I think we, like, I'm not trying to be like, super brutal and edgy, but it's like, would we just I don't know. I feel like we would maybe just try to restrain them at least.
Yeah, I think restrain them or deactivate them makes sense. Because we still have because we still haven't figured out exactly what's
Right.
going on.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think if there is a way to I don't know if there was like a switch that we knew about,
Yeah.
or or that like that George knew about, maybe being an android himself.
Yeah, I feel like it wouldn't make sense if they had a switch, because then it's like, you can just go behind them and flick it off. But, well, maybe certain ones, right? If it wasn't going to be used for battle, it might be a way for well, no, because a company would want to not let random people fuck with it. So I bet we have to restrain them and tie them up.
Okay, yeah, let's just tie him up.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm not gonna roll for that. I feel like especially given their kind of compromised state right now,
Yeah.
and with that idea, yeah, that right, they're not gonna battle you or anything like that.
And George is kind of putting a hand, as he's doing this to Pander, he's trying to do it kind of gently. He's like, I'm really sorry about this, Pander. It's just, you might have killed a lot of people and you just might not remember.
Yeah, you don't seem to be well, man.
Yeah.
And let's close the session off with one more fear save. I think that with this scene and what you've seen and fear saves have
Yeah.
there's a disadvantage. Is that
Yeah. You all get disadvantage.
Yeah.
Do I get
no? You
disadvantage for
don't.
being in the presence of
I
other
don't think
androids?
the android does.
All right.
Okay,
Oh, I
so
succeeded for once. Good.
So I definitely failed, but will I fail critically? No, I just fail.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
And if you fail, take another stress.
Okay.
And how does George do? Did George fail or?
Oh, sorry. Right, I'm George. George succeeded.
Okay.
Yeah, he's calm right now.
I will say though, one of my rolls was an 11, so, but that was not the roll I got to keep.
Yeah, and I feel
So
like
yeah,
yeah, but you had that critical success. So and I'll try to think a little bit more about that because it seems like in this like the critical success really should, uh, you know, have some extra force to it. But yeah, let's go on and end the session here for tonight.